I love that you decided to take on the personal challenge just yourself. So tell me, first of all, I think you said it was 54 days. Give me the conditions. So you're pulling something that's like 350 pounds. It's negative 80 degrees. I mean, what resistance headwind? Haha. What do you have challenges for you on a daily basis when you take on something like Antarctica?
Yeah, I mean, the average temperature in Antarctica is about minus 25, minus 30, but the wind chill, as you mentioned, it's 50, 60-mile-per-hour winds can definitely get up to about minus 70, minus 80. So I'm pulling my sled with all my supplies in it. The sled started out weighing about 375 pounds. And from a
Oh,
kind of food and a vegan angle, one of the most interesting pieces was how to maximize that weight, or basically how to maximize the best food and nutrition I could have in the sled without making my sled too heavy, because the people who had attempted previously, one person made it 900 miles and then fell ill and ultimately died 100 miles from completing the crossing. Another guy attempted the crossing and ran low on food and supplies and had to be rescued. And so there's kind of this complicated math equation of how much you can pull. Obviously, if you just brought as much food as you wanted, you would have 1,000-pound sled. You can never move it on the first day. And so I work with this company called Standard Process, which is a whole food supplement company, to create this basically specific plant-based food for me that they nicknamed the Colin bars. And we'd spent a year in a food science lab actually studying all my physiology, all my sort of metrics on my body, and et cetera, and came up with that. And honestly, although I've kind of opted towards a more plant-based and vegetarian diet throughout my life, I didn't start them on that premise and say, hey, this has to be plant-based. I said, let's look at all the options to see how we can optimize this. And after all the research and all the testing and all the kind of top doctors in the working on this, what 20 PhDs and doctors working on this, what they came up with was the actual most optimal solution for my body, for my health, for my sustained endurance, etc., was entirely plant-based. And where a lot of people have attempted this project in the past, going back 100 years, people have used something called pemmican, which is essentially like bacon and animal fats and things like that. And what they found over time, and kind of one of the reasons I think I was able to do this and no one in history had ever been able to complete it, was that over a long duration of time, all that plant protein, animal protein and fats were leading to some long-term problems for people as the body got more weak and diminished. Whereas with me, I'm in a fully plant-based solution. Of course, I was losing weight because no one could carry enough calories to replenish all the calories. I myself was actually getting stronger and stronger. My body was recovering faster in between the days with a more clean plant-based diet. And I attribute that to a huge amount of the success in Antarctica.
I've interviewed so many plant-based athletes, and they all say the same thing, that they recover so much quicker, and that allows them to get right back at it and either train or actually perform faster, harder, and without the kind of damage that an animal fat-based diet would have for them. So that's wonderful that you say that. And I hadn't realized that you guys had been working on your own food so that you can maximize the weight of it. How cool is that? And how great that they were supportive in that way.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, Standard Process did an incredible job, and I've continued my work with them. And also the bars, we kind of created a new derivative of them for the my most recent crossing, the Drake Passage crossing in the rowboat. Same thing, completely vegan for that crossing as well, which is rowing a boat 700 miles from the southern tip of South America to Antarctica. So 30, 40-foot swells, icebergs, in a tiny rowboat with no motor, just me and 5 other people propelling it ourselves. And I was completely vegan for that project as well. And again, it worked incredibly well, and was able to do, again, that was something no one in history had ever completed either. And so, it just goes to show people have attempted these various different challenges and expeditions over time. And, I think mindset is key. I think other pieces of training are key, but nutrition is certainly one of the key factors. And, being able to work with these incredible, lab of people in this Standard Processes Nutrition Innovation Center and come up with these plant-based solutions has been amazing to see what I've been able to do. And when I was crossing Antarctica, and I write about this in my book, The Impossible First, it actually ended up turning into somewhat of a head-to-head race. There was another guy, a British explorer, attempting the crossing at the exact same time. Which was pretty interesting. We didn't really, other than one time we saw each other out there, but we started on the exact same day. And we were basically in this crazy head-to-head race, not just racing history, but racing each other.